Well, this is going to be a different sort of interview, a journalist talking to journalists, but this is what's going to be happening tonight for the Royal Television Society Isle of Man branch. James Davis now joins us, and he's actually going to be hosting the event. And I think for quite an interesting, for people to be able to look in on what's going to be happening tonight, because James, you're going to be talking to all the journalists that go to the it used to be daily, the weekly or twice weekly press briefings with the government. And it gives a chance for us to talk about what goes on. And you're the man to do this, because obviously you're quite obviously involved with doing some stuff as well. What sort of things are we going to talk about tonight then?
Well, to be honest, Paul, it's a mix of 9 journalists, reporters, broadcasters, including editors of what I'd call the mainstream media in the island, really, but also some of the other players in town. They've all had a role to play during this momentous period in our history. And I was asked to host this really on behalf of the Royal Television Society. It's the Isle of Man branch. I think you're a key part of that.
Yeah, I should hold my hand up that I asked you to do this, and I'm a member of the RTS Isle of Man, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we are. I mean, it's been quite a year, it continues to be. And this is a chance really to see some of the voices behind the Zoom questions at the media briefings and talk to them and see what things are like from their perspective.
These press conferences, people are so divided, do you not find? That people either love the questioning, they hate the questioning, they don't like the questions, they think they're the same questions over and over again. No one is going to be happy, are they, with what we produce?
You're never going to please all of the people all the time. But I suppose, and I'm sure that will be touched on tonight, and I know you've been sort of quite outspoken about the format for some time now, going back to last year. But really, I suppose what we want to focus on more tonight is the fact that you and the others have been, certainly from my perspective, you've been responsible for reporting on and bringing the island news to a wider audience during this time, not just during a global pandemic, incidentally, but also predominantly digitally. And what and I'm sure some of those who submit questions will want to know of what the last 12 months has been like from your point of view. Lives have been lost, of course. Our economy's been impacted. Some journalists have embarked on a pretty major critique at times of the performance of politicians, of health officials, of scientists, and rightly so. And I'd like to know how you think you have performed in your coverage. Where did you get it right? Where did you get it not so right? Everyone's made mistakes, of course. And I think it's fair to say some of the journalists and some of the reporters, because there is a difference, some of them have added more journalistic value than others. And I'm looking forward to talking to media colleagues and they're going to be answering questions and reflecting on the past year, really.
Yes, and as I said, I think there's about 7 or 8 of us. Last time we did one...
Well, do you know what? I had a quick look yesterday and I thought, wow, and I counted 9.
Oh, 9. Because last time we did we just did myself and BBC and ITV, but we thought we'd expand it out because everyone has some input in video formats anyway these days. But in that in itself is almost problematical, isn't it? So many people having to ask questions each day, and that sometimes if you're at the bottom of the list, it does feel like, oh my goodness, what's left to ask?
Well, that is it. And I think, I mean, again, some have done better than others, let's be honest. But it's not always straightforward trying to relay information with a clarity and as much detail as possible when very much the journalists, they've had to go on a massive learning journey too over the last 13 months. And it's quite a balance, I think, to strike between conveying those public health messages and interrogating government policy. And COVID has meant that everyone, politicians, scientists, journalists, other experts, have had to almost on the hoof sometimes.
And, when we do those questions, and it's been very interesting to watch how different people react. We ask questions and the politicians have different ways of coming back at us. And we'll talk more about it tonight, obviously. But It is interesting how some people seem to like the whole thing and others don't necessarily get the same buzz out of it.
That's true, and that's always going to be the case. And I think a pandemic like this makes critical journalism more important than ever. And it's having that, whether you've got a newsroom or whether you're a one-man band like effectively you are, getting that COVID coverage right, I think requires a pretty diverse set of skills and expertise and a human touch and a time to know when to press the buttons and a time when to hold back. And it's a balance. And I think hopefully there may be a chance to explore that later. I'm looking forward to catching up with some former colleagues, friends, if you like, and sort of getting a debate going.
Well, if you ask me some questions tonight, you know I'll answer them. So, well,
I know you will.
yeah, I know. I dread myself because I am one of those people that can't. I don't have a stop button, which gets me into trouble from time to time. So anyway, we'll put the details on the screen how people can join it. It's a free thing. It's live. You can watch it afterwards on record. But a Zoom event tonight. The great James Davis is there and will be hosting everyone. So if you ever thought about our thoughts on the things, because we do get 2 or 3 minutes before the thing starts and we all start chatting to each other. It is quite a little club almost, and we're all sort of having the key words. What's he going to say today? Deck chairs or tiny steps. You get all those sort of things. But you're the man. So do
you play innuendo bingo? Do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you've got any questions, you'll be happy to take those as the show goes on, won't you?
Hopefully, I won't have much to say at all. Hopefully, I'll be just fielding the questions from the public, and we'll hear what you've got to say.